Final run.
Final run.
For CIM.
For CIM.
Just a little shakeout. Another 3 miles with new race pace pickups. What's up?
No thanks.
Porta potties as far as the eye can see.
Right there in the middle, tossing there. If you're on the other side, you can just toss them to the sidewalk. They will all be gathered.
Let's go! Look at this fine ass man!
I've never seen you run this fast before.
You're the best!
740 pace.
740 pairs!
No, I'm saying you're running 740.
Oh, I'm running 740 pairs!
Like, I hope we're not.
I got a throttle back, okay?
You focus.
Love you.
Love you. Good job. Oh, my boyfriend.
Ty.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I see him.
Ty.
We'll all cheer for him. We'll all
Okay.
cheer for him.
Okay, so do you see that lady with the purple shirt and the guy with the orange hat? He's the naked Asian guy.
Naked Asian man.
Go Ty Ty! Go Ty Ty! Woo!
Love you.
Let's go! Woo! Thank you!
I'll tell you this.
What's he look like? What's he look like? I'll tell you. Oh. I don't see any naked Asian men yet. Good job.
I don't think I've ever run as fast in my life as I did across the finish line. I think I did it. I'll check in a second.
Close to reach the thing. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
It is really bright over here, huh?
Yeah, it's really bright. How do you feel about your first marathon?
It was really exciting. It was the first time I did that. I mean, it doesn't feel that different than some of the half marathons that I've done. But it was really exciting. It was very hard. I was very happy and grateful that everything kind of came together on the day of, because there were so many pieces that I was unsure of going in. But overall, I don't really think it could have gone much better.
What was the hardest part of the whole thing?
The hardest thing for me was definitely getting injured during prep. So I don't know technically when I say prep started, but I ran the SF half in July as my first ever real half marathon. And I think that I might have been slightly injured going into that already. Over the course of a few months, what was probably just posterior tibialis tendinopathy became pretty bad shin splints, most likely minor stress fracture in my right shin. So it was pretty bad. It was pretty painful. There was a long period of time there where I couldn't train the way I wanted to. I wasn't able to get up to the sort of mileage that I was imagining or hoping to do. So I couldn't build fitness as aggressively as I would have liked. It required like a lot of adaptation. There was a lot of uncertainty as to whether I'd even finish prep and make it to the race for a long time. Like honestly, even up to maybe a month out.
What was your goal?
So I know that people say things and they have general advice, and a lot of my friends who are more experienced than me, some of them coaches themselves, even the guys at the clinic, a lot of people kept telling me, you know, just make sure you finish. If you have to walk, you can walk. There's no shame in that. One of them even was saying, like, when I told them what I think a reasonable time for me to finish in was, He's like, maybe we can try to accomplish that next year. My goal was 3:45 or faster for the full, and having no preconception really, because I don't know how much of a difference it would be from like some of my longest long runs or from racing a half going into a full. But by all accounts, it's like a very, very aggressive goal. And I kind of knew that going in.
What was your finish time?
My official chip time was 3 hours, 43 minutes, and 34 seconds. So just like a minute and a half faster than the goal.
What were the most important pieces of your race day strategy?
I think a lot of it can be summed up into nutrition, hydration, which I kind of consider one and the same, and then my pacing. So the nutrition hydration thing, but I believe it breaks down to about 120 grams of carbs, 1,600 milligrams of salt, and 600 milliliters of fluid per hour. I tend to be skeptical of things like this. Like I'd almost rather believe that it doesn't make that big of a difference because it's massively inconvenient and logistically kind of a nightmare to have to carry that much stuff with you or to figure out how you're going to do it on race day. But it does seem to be the case, at least so far, that having a much more aggressive fueling strategy made some amount of difference for me on the day of, just feeling consistently how I'd expect to going through that race. If you look at most of the world records and most of the best times for any road race, what you'll see is either even splits or very slightly negative splits. So the best in the world, the most efficient you could be, probably on a physio basis, is going to be about even splits. That, however, is pretty tough because that does mean that at the start of a race, whatever the effort is only going to increase continuously as you fatigue, and it'll increase in order for you to hold the same pace. It's also mentally kind of tricky. I think psychologically it's more comfortable for most people to negative split, where you start out a little bit slow and then you push yourself, and then whatever you have left toward the end, you just empty the tank. And that's historically what I've tried to do in other races. But I do understand, or at least I currently believe, that the best pacing strategy is probably close to even. So that's what I was aiming for in this race. And I'll put my my times, my actual splits from checkpoints up on the screen here. But I did a really good job with that. At the first mile, maybe 2 miles, I did set out a little bit slower, really, really trying to avoid getting overexcited. But for the rest of the race, up until the last maybe mile, I was pretty even, right around my goal pace. And in the last like 1 or 2 miles, I kicked as hard as I could, which I think for mile 25 was, and it ended up being about even split to mile 25. And I think mile 26 was significantly faster. But other than that, it was very even all the way through.
What did you end up using for your race day kit?
Okay, top down. On my head, nothing, no hat, no glasses, which was intentional just because the conditions were very like misty, kind of damp. I'm glad I didn't wear those because I saw a lot of people having to like clear their glasses as they were getting like a bunch of moisture on them. I'll maybe make a separate video about this, but I didn't wear a shirt even though it was like 40 degrees. And that wasn't just for the gram. It was because the short version of this is that if it is damp enough outside, if the air is moist enough that your shirt gets saturated, you then can't evaporate sweat. And if you can't evaporate your sweat, you can't effectively manage heat. Further down, I wore a flip belt. I know they're like a hobby jogger brand, but their Ore half tights are my favorite half tights because they are very comfortable, and they also integrate a belt that is large enough for me to hold about 600 milliliters in a soft flask. I held 10 gels. And if I'm like going for a long run, I'm not racing, I can hold like my car keys, I can hold my ID, my phone. I have plenty of room in those tights, and they stay comfortable the entire time. And then on my feet, I ended up going with Alpha Fly 3s, which if you saw my video about other race shoes, that might sound funny because I said I wouldn't buy at Nike's again. But going through the prep and being injured in the way that I was, I really needed to have a race shoe that was stable. And the Alphas are remarkably stable for a race shoe that is that light and that fast.
What are the most valuable things you learned through all of this?
If I had to pick, I would say one is that I still have a lot of figuring out left to do when it comes to finding the appropriate balance in training for the goals that I'm pursuing. my hope is that I can continue to get faster, specifically for the marathon distance, but for other shorter races as well. And at the same time, I still want to continue pursuing strength in a powerlifting context. There's still a lot left to figure out, and it's tricky because there's not really any precedent. So even when I read research, there's not really any research done on a subject population that's entirely relevant. So I kind of have to either make guesses or assumptions and then end up testing them out with a sample size of 1, basically, to figure out what works. But I have some ideas. Some of the other coaches close to me have some ideas as well. So I'll lean on the people who, maybe have a little more experience on either end and see what we end up doing with this year. But surely I still have a lot left to learn. The other thing that was really interesting to me around the injury is that, in theory you can understand this, but you can build your aerobic base doing almost anything. I think there was a period in there of maybe a month, 2 months, where I did the majority of my volume on either a Stairmaster or an incline walk on a treadmill. So a lot of my easy running was done on a machine just because it was less impactful and allowed my tibia a chance to actually hopefully heal up in time for me to do some real running prior to the race. And when I first started doing that, it was kind of just the best option I had. I didn't have a lot of faith that it would have the same effect because it's so non-specific. But it seems to have done its job. When I started running again, like properly running on the road, I did feel like I was in better shape than I was, months prior when I had been running more, but not as much total volume. The most important takeaway for me, I think, was just that I've been injured at all but one of the races I've done, or injured at some point during prep. And it's very clear, and I've had constant reminders that my body does have physical limits, but going through this prep or finishing this prep and getting through this race and pushing to make sure that I did meet my goal time there is a good confirmation for me that my mind is not the limit. It may be the case that I have to slow roll training sometimes to make sure my body can adapt and recover, but I know fairly certainly that my brain is not the thing holding me back, and it won't be at any point in the foreseeable future.
Do you think you'll run a marathon again?
Yeah, actually, I already registered for CIM next year. So I think that'll be my main PR goal race. I might do 1 or 2 other races throughout the year just to make sure that I get more experience in that environment, in that atmosphere. But yeah, I enjoyed it enough. It was a really special experience, kind of sharing it with the people that were there with me. And it all went really well. I really enjoyed it. It's a weird thing too, because in the past, competing in things like powerlifting and bodybuilding and even golf when I was a kid to some extent, the way that I thought about those competitions, whether it was valid or not, I always felt like I was supposed to try to win. And if I didn't, it was somehow disappointing, which is a crazy way to think about it. It's very unrealistic. But going into this, it's different because I'm not that fast. And also there are so many people who are so good. I don't think I'll ever, no matter how much I train for this, I don't think I'll ever go into a race thinking to myself that I'm supposed to try to win. It's just, maybe there's going to be some expectation just from myself that, I'm supposed to be able to do whatever time and aim for that and try to push toward that. But I mean, as far as the actual competition itself, that doesn't even really cross my mind for this. It was a unique experience for me. I do, before I finish this video, I do want to say a special thank you to Christine and Amy, my crew, who made sure I had enough nutrition, hydration throughout the course, got all my footage for me. So you can thank them for this video. I want to thank the guys at NorCal Physio, JP especially, for making sure that I had a chance to get to the start line healthy, and for reminding me frequently that it would be better to be less fit and healthy than it would be to be in pain with more fitness. The Progression Run Club guys, it was nice knowing they were out there, even though they were miles ahead of me. Ross, it was a lot of fun spending the weekend with him and seeing how he gets ready for a race. My family and all my friends for kind of supporting me through this and celebrating with me after.
Hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed this or you found it useful in any way. It would mean a lot to me if you hit that subscribe button. Can you say that?
I'm supposed to say,
if you liked this video or found it useful in any way, it would mean the world to me if you liked the video and hit that subscribe button. Thank you.